totally disregarding all that you have and zeroing in on one or two things that you don't have and making yourself miserable about it. So in effect, by your own choice, by your own volition, you are rendering all that you have irrelevant because you're not even looking at it. All of us have the use of our eyes. Are we aware of it? Are we grateful for it? Just because they've come for free. The day you were born with the eyes, with eyesight. And you are taking it for granted that till the day you die you will have eyes, which may not be true. See, the best things in life come for free. The most valuable things come for free. But just because they've come for free does not mean that they have no value. And if you learn to value the things that you've been blessed with, you get this state of abundance. You get into this state of abundance. And when you feel this abundance, even one or two things that you don't have, you don't even look at them, because you understand that all that you needed in life has already been provided to you. If there is something that you don't have, it's only because of one reason, and that reason is you don't need it, correct? So don't behave like all the people in the world who have plenty, but in their mind they are deficient. Behave like Sudama, who had nothing, but in his mind was full of abundance. Then comes Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, is consistency of purpose. Consistency, resoluteness in the pursuit of knowledge and yoga. Yoga is not standing on your head, please. Yoga, it comes from the root yuja, which means a constant pursuit, a constant vision of wanting to rejoin with Atman, from whom you have separated for the time being. So, this consistency of purpose comes from a clear vision of the goal, followed by steady practice. Even in material pursuits, a person who fixes a clear goal is able to then channelize all his activities towards meeting that goal. But if you don't have a goal, or if it is not clear in your mind, then you perform activities that are contrary to the pursuit of the goal, and therefore it seems as if you're putting in a lot of effort and the results are not forthcoming. That's not so. It's only because you perform what is known as self-cancelling actions. You take one action towards the goal, next 5 actions against the goal. And this is the story of you and me. All of us are doing that. But a person who has a clear vision of a goal, whatever that goal is, material or spiritual, and constantly pursues it, so it achieves success. This is a fundamental requirement in success. Whether you are a musician or a cricketer or a tennis player or an executive or a doctor, you have to have a clear goal in mind. And then any activity that takes you towards the goal, encourage it, go for it. But any activity that comes in the way of your achieving the goal, you should have the courage to say no to it. That this is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi. Then comes Dana, charity. It's a beautiful thing. Dana, see, it's only when you recognize and you are aware and grateful for the benevolence that has been bestowed on you that you will have this spirit of giving. Charity, dana, is a very important aspect in Indian life, but it has been reduced to throwing a few coins into the hundi in a temple. That is not charity. Charity is not acts of giving, it is an attitude of giving. In fact, it's not even an attitude of giving, it's an attitude of thanksgiving. It's an attitude of repayment for things that you have already received, the millions and millions of things, the bounty of nature that you have availed of in your lifetime. And when you understand that, you wait for every opportunity to repay. You develop this irresistible urge to give at every opportunity, in every which way. It's not just writing a check once a year and saying, oh, I've done my dana for the year. It's every moment of your life you want to give. This, when you function in this attitude, you benefit the most. See, there are 4 grades of giving. The Gita, chapter 4, in I think verse 28, speaks of 4 types of giving. The first is dravya yajna, means giving wealth, writing out a check or giving cash or material things. So when you give money to somebody, what are you giving? With money, what can you buy? Sense objects. That's all that you're giving. So there's a limitation to that. Besides which, in the giving of money, your resources get depleted, the recipient's resources get increase. The next is called tapoyajna. Tapoyajna means you're not content with just giving money, you want to do much more. You actually give of your physical energies, you give of your talent, you give of, like, I know a doctor in New York who comes 3 or 4 times a year, I think maybe 6 times a year, to India to perform free surgeries in the villages. This is called tapoyajna. He gives not just money, but he gives of his expertise. Third is called yoga yajna, where you give your feelings. When someone is in grief, no amount of money can alleviate that suffering. No amount of your going and cooking for the person or doing, actually spending your time there alleviates the person. But what alleviates the person's misery is giving of your mind and intellect, giving your knowledge, sharing your feelings. This is called yoga yajna. And the last is called Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna is spiritual activity. But one of the things which perhaps you have not thought of, which has been mentioned in the Ishavasya Upanishad, where a young student on the verge of realization, he goes to the Guru for valuable help, he gains this knowledge and is on the verge of realization. At that time, realization means physical death also. At that time, he realizes that even though he has reached the ultimate in selflessness, in his lifetime, he has been arrogating these 5 elements, the physical body, to himself. And the last act of giving that he does is, he says, let the elements go back to where they belong. What a fine thought. And in modern terminology, it is organ donation. If in your lifetime, your physical body, you've arrogated to yourself, at least when it is useless to you, give it to someone else, so that you may live on forever through the eyes of someone else. You may live through someone else's kidney, through your kidney in someone else's body, etc. So this is it. Charity is the attitude of giving. 5th quality of the divine is sense control. Sense control is misunderstood as sense denial. There are only 2 types of people in the world. One, the vast majority just go all out and indulge in the world and lose the enjoyment. So they are having contact with sense objects, but they don't enjoy. The second, a minority who, in the name of religion or spirituality, believe that the scriptures ask them to stay away from sense objects. So they unnecessarily deny themselves enjoyment of the world, which is given to you. The world has been made for you to enjoy. Both are wrong. Sense control simply means mastery over sense contact. You can have as much of the world as you like. You can contact any number of sense objects and enjoy them. The only difference is, don't allow the sense object to gain mastery over you. You don't be a slave of sense objects. You contact them, you enjoy them, but you call the shots. This is difficult. It's easier said than done. Because you see what happens. This evening when you go home, the moment you sit at the table, and particularly if the food is good, there's biryani waiting for you when you go home, what happens? The sight of it, the aroma, the fragrance, and the fact that you're hungry, you completely lose control. Thereafter, it is the biryani that has you for dinner, you don't have the biryani for dinner. Sense control is retaining the mastery so that you get up from the table when you decide this is it. And so also with all other sense objects. When you switch on the television, for instance, in a matter of seconds, you get involved in what is being projected in such a way that thereafter you lose the control. You're sitting there with the remote, but you are no longer controlling. It's the program that's controlling you. So sense control is that. So how do you achieve that? Number one, the intellect guides your contact with the sense object. When this happens, you maximize your enjoyment. You enjoy a sense object only when the intellect is in command. If the mind itself lets loose and you lose control over it, you no longer enjoy it. Ask anybody. Only a person, see, a glutton is not one who enjoys the food. He eats a large quantity of food, but he doesn't enjoy. Who enjoys is a person who regulates contact with the food. And third, most important, there is no hangover of desire. You contact the sense object in such a way that you emerge from that experience clean, with no hangover of a desire lurking within you. This is called sense control. Next is yajna, sacrifice. Throughout Vedanta, throughout the scriptures, yajna or sacrifice is eulogized because that's the only way to live life, in a spirit of sacrifice. What is sacrifice? Sacrifice is not unnecessarily denying yourself things, foolishly denying yourself things. Yajna is the capacity to fix a goal for yourself that is beyond your selfish, self-centered interests. And thereafter, pouring out all your efforts to achieve that goal. There is power in yajna. You look at any successful person in the world, you'll find one common thread that runs through all of them is sacrifice. That they've gone beyond the thought of what's in it for me. They've gone beyond the thought of when will I go to Switzerland for a holiday. They've gone beyond the thought of how will I benefit from this entire thing. So therefore it is that in this wonderful movie called The Legend of Bhagavans, the caddy, it's about golf. The caddy, who's the guru in the movie, Bhagavans is his name, tells his shishya, his disciple, Arjuna is his name. Does it ring a bell? No? Yes. Bhagavan and Arjuna. So it's an American movie, incidentally, based on a book written by an American. So here is the golfer who's not able to get his shots right, and he's at a complete loss. That's when the guru, the caddy, tells him, there's a perfect shot waiting out there. All you have to do is get yourself out of the way. Wonderful words of wisdom. So if the Gita doesn't inspire you, at least let the movie inspire you. Get yourself out of the way means perform yajna. Get captivated by a higher ideal. Whatever it is that you're doing, do it for something beyond yourself, and by God, you'll come up with perfection. Not only will you come up with perfection, you will enjoy yourself doing it. Life will be a breeze. All the drudgery will go out of life. The boredom will get out of life. And most importantly, you will evolve spiritually. So therefore, yajna, sacrifice, is a very important quality. Krishna in the 3rd chapter says, this world is not for the non-sacrificer. And yet, all of us, all the time, are only focusing on how to use this wonderful gift, talent that has been bestowed on you by God for selfish reasons. Today, people become engineers only to make money. People become doctors to make money. People get into music to get money. People get into the spiritual field also to make money. And therefore it is that all of us come up with mediocrity. The seventh quality, svadhyaya, self-study, which is the highest form of giving. You might wonder, many people come up with this criticism. When there is starvation and poverty in the country, what are you doing sitting there speaking on the Gita or studying the Gita? In the Gita itself it is said that svadhyaya is the highest form of giving. Even if you want to give, what can you give? What will you give? You can only give when you develop merit. So, when you develop spiritually, you are only becoming a better human being. When you become a better human being, you automatically become a better husband or wife, you become a better parent, you become a better citizen of the country, you become a better citizen of the world. And what you're giving is not just money, physical effort, emotions or knowledge, you are giving Atman. As you uncover the spirit within you, what you're communicating is Atman. This is what the greatest of souls did. Ramana Maharshi sat in his room. Just the fact that he had unfolded Atman attracted the best in the world towards him. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa lived in one place, he didn't go around the world. But there is Ramakrishna mission in every nook and corner of the world. This is the power of the spirit. This spirit lies in each one of you. All you have to do is tap into this wealth, this infinite source of energy and wealth. What are you doing wasting your time with MBAs and this, that and the other? And we are not saying you should not get an MBA. Get what you like, but get Atman first. Automatically you will get the whole world. And quality number 8 is Tapa, austerity. Austerity is not unnecessary self-torture. Tapas simply means concentration of the energies of your senses and mind. So what's happening today is you have a great deal of energy within you, but these energies are getting dissipated in unnecessary indulgent activities. So once you fix a goal for yourself, what you do is your intellect helps you to conserve the energy that is otherwise dissipated and redirect this energy towards the achievement of the goal, and you find you achieve it almost effortlessly. So tapas is that. Concentration of energy of the senses and mind towards the goal. Quality number 9 is arjavam. Arjavam, uprightness. This is a quality that is sorely lacking in the world. If you find an upright person, he is so attractive, so charming, just the fact that he is upright. What is upright? Upright is not foolishly hanging on to certain things like, oh, I will not speak lies, I will not do this. I'm not suggesting you should speak lies, but uprightness goes much beyond that. Uprightness is you're straightforward, you're honest, sincere, simple, because you follow your conscience. And it is the conscience which is the lodestar that guides you towards the higher, towards being good, towards your own welfare and benevolence. So if you have the courage to follow your own conscience, you will develop a strong conviction, and this combination of conviction and conscience will get you to the highest goal of self-realization. Verse 2.
Ahimsa satyam akrodha tyaga shantirapaishunam daya bhuteshvalo luptvam Madhavam hirachapalam.
Ahimsa, non-injury. Satyam, truth. Akrodha, freedom from anger. Tyaga, renunciation. Shanti, tranquility. Apaishunam, absence of slander. Daya bhuteshu, compassion for all beings. Non-covetousness, gentleness, modesty, absence of fickleness. Some more wonderful qualities. Now, you know, when you see all these qualities and you find that they are missing in us, don't get dejected. It's not, you know, you don't have to make an effort to cultivate all of these qualities. He's offering us a buffet. You know what the meaning of buffet is? We misunderstand buffet. Buffet doesn't mean you have to have every dish that is there. We misunderstand that, so that at the end of a buffet, you find difficulty getting up from the table. Buffet means a wide variety is given so that you choose what you like and eat what you like. Similarly, a buffet of qualities is given so that you pick what inspires you. If you cultivate even one of these 26 qualities, you will find to your amazement that all the other qualities automatically rise. So, ahimsa, non-injury, truth, freedom from anger, etc. Let's take a look at ahimsa. This quality is totally misunderstood as acts of non-violence. It goes beyond an act of non-violence. It is an attitude of non-injury at all times towards all creatures.